So evening everyone, it's episode 2 of the Talking Shaymen Podcast. I'm joined by all 3 guests. I'm joined by Luke, I'm joined by Shaymen Stats, and I'm joined by Rob Brown. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Obviously we promised that there was going to be a giveaway. We're going to put that on your screen in a second. The only thing that I must concern you about, everyone, is my internet will be very badly when that does come on the screen. That's just to give you all a heads up. Rob will read out who the winner is. I'll remove that from the screen, and then about 15 seconds later, it'll be back, and then we'll talk about everything about, like the Pontey game coming up, the Weymouth preview, and a bit about last night as well and our thoughts on it. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, I'll add to my screen now the thing. I will badly lag, just to warn you all. I probably should have thought about this in the preview. And yeah, we're more or less ready to go. So, you all ready?
Well, look at that. Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Who's going to get the big winner?
So who's the winner going to be of this shirt?
High-tech stuff here.
It's coming.
Oh,
it's going to be George.
It's me. No, it's not. Hang on.
George Sparks. I think he's on Instagram, I believe.
George Sparks. Yeah, well done, George.
Mm-hmm.
God,
Right,
what's the menu for a minute?
I'm going to quickly come back now, remove this from my screen, and then hopefully the lag won't be too bad. Right then, it'll just take a couple of seconds to load up, and then we'll be back. There, where's that?
Nicely done. Pretty smooth.
Well,
pretty
a little
smooth.
annoying that, but yes. So who was it again? I've already forgotten.
George Sparks.
George
Sparks.
Sparks.
I'll put that in the chat. George Sparks.
Well done, George.
The winner. Right, there we go. And I'll put that on your screen for a second. So, George, next time, come contact me. I'll try contact you straight afterwards. We've got this shirt for you. It's signed by all the lads. You just don't yourself that. Once again, huge thank you to absolutely everybody that's entered the giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had over 40 entries, which is brilliant, obviously, and we're nearly 160 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty mad to say where we were about 2 weeks ago. I think we were on 84. So yeah, thank you to everyone that has subscribed to the channel. And yeah, let's get on with episode 2 of this Talking Shaymen podcast. So to start things off, Shaymen, do you have any details on this shirt?
No.
Do you not?
I'm not going through it all again. Yeah. It's from 2004-5, I believe, and it's Town were a bit similar to what they are now. They were always pushing for the playoffs, and it looked as if we were finally going to do it. And we come up against Carlisle United away, and it were live on Sky Sports. We absolutely dominated the game. I think striker on the day, Josh Grant, hit a post, and then Ian Dunbavin, misunderstanding what the referee was saying, caused a late 1-0 defeat that I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night screaming in my dreams, even to this day. We missed out on the playoffs. Carlisle went up.
What do you say, Luke?
Yeah, and that's deep-seated in my memory as well, because it was a very, very cold night in Carlisle. And you still see that clip of anytime you go on YouTube at goalkeeping gaffes and all this kind of stuff. It's always digs up in the deepest, darkest parts of YouTube. So we just can't avoid it. And that shirt is a memory of that as well.
I would put it on now, but the connection is a little dodgy. So, before we get a bit more into detail about the Weymouth game, have you got any supports club information?
The Christmas rush is about to start for the polo shirts. So we want people to start panic buying them. They're really good quality. They're only £20. They're fantastic. We've got a few of those slates left as well. We put a few aside for Christmas. So if anybody wants a slate for Christmas, get in touch. They're really good. And I also know that Phil from the Supporters Club is looking to increase our supply of all sorts of different types of merchandise, body warmers and all sorts like that. So if you've got anything at all you're interested in, give Phil a shout. He's on @Halifax Club on Twitter, or just contact us any way you like, and we'll send him out to see you.
Yeah, perfect. And if you want to contact me, you are on Instagram I'll get you in touch with him, and then you can get your polo shirt just in time for Christmas. And yeah, there's loads of other stuff. I think we've still got some of them 100 years tiles in stock. Am I right?
Yeah.
And they're brilliant. They're brilliant, like tiles. I'm about to purchase one in our next live draw, which I believe is a Dagenham game, isn't it?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Which will be perfect. So let's get on with it then. So moving a bit about the Weymouth game. What's everyone's thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I'll go first. It was my first game post-pandemic attending, so quite an emotional moment to be back with a full crowd. And I think it was helped by the late, maybe it was even our idea last week, Luke. Didn't we mention doing an incentive for season ticket holders of local clubs to come down? So I think that was a great idea. In the South Stand, it was definitely full with a few kind of Leeds fans and Huddersfield maybe and stuff as well. But on the pitch, really, really good. Like those are the games that, in the past, looking back at 03-04 even, playing against a weaker team that's not on form, we could have easily not come out and played as confidently as they did. And it's a sign of the strides that Pete Wiles made this season to, even at 1-0, to feel relatively comfortable. And then excellent for Keane to score his first goal for the club and tie it up with 10 minutes left to make it extra safe at the end. But I think it was a really comfortable performance from the lads.
I've always thought with Kane Spence, I thought last season, because I was having a conversation with Shaymen Stats in a different podcast we did, and we were saying, could he be like that Ailing role when he came back? And Shaymen Stats said it's going to take him a season. And I still think it will to be like that main player for us. I still believe that. I agree with Shaymen Stats on that department. But I thought he started really well this season, Kane Spence. I think he's a brilliant player and he's got a big future in him. But the Weymouth game, you just got to beat them sort of teams at the end of the day. They're going to come, and I thought I think they had conceded in every single game for over 20 games. I thought they were very well organised. Shaymen Stats, do you have anything to add to that?
It was a rare performance from Town that I'm really not used to seeing. I mean, maybe under the sort of Aspin years excluded, we literally pinned a team into their own half for 90 minutes. It was just attack versus defensive in reason. Their goalkeeper, I spoke to a couple of their supporters at full time. They were saying that's like the best game he's ever had. Because I was sort of commenting to people around me in the stand that, like, if he carries on these kind of performances, he won't be at Weymouth very long. I think he'd get the score down. They had a number 8 for them in the middle, tried to obviously get them going, but we just defended really well. I was slightly nervous before the game, knowing that Bradbury wouldn't play, and I weren't just sure of the fitness of Jesse Deborah. Obviously, he came in and did 90 minutes straight back from his injury. Just the fact we pinned him in for 90 minutes. South Stand very proactive. It was a game where it's like the teams produced good football on the Tuesday against Notts County. I mean, there's no more to be said on the Notts County game, but it's one of those where the team feeds off the crowd are feeding off the team playing well, and it just married up very, very nicely, and we produced on the pitch.
Yeah, the South Stand was looking for that game, and it was brilliant. Would any of you say sort of speak back to the 98 season? Obviously, I wasn't alive then, but are there any similarities to this season in the 98
Attacking
season?
fullbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Attacking fullbacks and currently a striker that's scoring consistently. The only thing we haven't done this year is during the 97-98 run, we remained unbeaten until 1st of November. I mean, the Maidenhead defeat sort of, Summerfield slipped or was fouled or whatever in the last minute. I mean, the Yeovil game, we were very, very below par. I think it's the attacking fullbacks. But the only thing was, I still think we're quite solid at the back, but we were definitely a lot more solid in 97, 98.
The first couple of weeks, didn't you? Peter Jackson were there, and it was a very good, strong side from what I've heard in that 98 season. And there are some similarities this season. Obviously, I think Billy Waters, he's been quality, and he's been someone who's come up a bit under the radar. Have any of you seen that he had one player of the month and Tishamanga's one player of the month? I don't know how. I think it's an absolute
more goals.
Has it? But the thing is, one thing that I looked about Tishamanga, he takes penalties as well. I don't think we've had a single penalty so far this season. And Billy Waters, you're going off not penalties. Billy Waters has actually scored more goals. Rob, have you got anything to add to Saturday's game?
Yeah, I was going to say it was a really comfortable performance, and I think what's really good about our team this year is the goalkeeper doesn't kick the ball out anymore. He plays it to the defenders, and nobody panics, and the ball is just played really calmly through the team, and they'll retain possession for 20, 30 passes at once, and it's fantastic football, really good. Yeah. And the crowd were great, and it's probably the most comfortable we've been in a long time. Never thought we were going to lose, never thought we were going to draw. Really good.
Definitely. Just to echo Luke, what Shaymen Stats was saying there about the fullbacks. I think from early point, I think Senior getting man of the match was definitely the right decision. All over the pitch, like anytime he needs to be defending, he was there, and then just providing that option on the left was brilliant. And then obviously the cross from Deborah for Slew led to the first goal. So I think when on paper, on budget, whatever you want to look at against Weymouth, we might even be similar, but you can just see that the work that Pete Wild have put into making those triangles and getting those overlapping runs, that can be the difference between breaking through or having a stalemate and a boring 0-0. So yeah, very, very rewarding for those plans to come into action, and great for the wing backs, definitely.
I think this season, what I've noticed is, I think a lot of people, the start of the season, obviously, we talked about that in the most recent podcast we did. Pete, complaining about the players Pete Wild were bringing in and Bosworth. But the thing is, he's had these first 2 seasons, he's more or less made playoffs both seasons, apart from this last season where obviously he just missed out. Previous season we missed the playoffs. And I think what's good is the fact that it's with a budget we've got, and even your big budget teams, They don't every season be competing for the playoffs. I know you've got sides like Wrexham and Notts County who are quite low down. I know for a fact they will start to catch up to teams like us and push for the playoffs as the season goes on. Obviously, when injuries start kicking in, that's when them sort of teams thrive because they've got bigger squads. And that at the start of the season, they may struggle because they've got too many options. But when injuries start to kick in and your smaller sides like Altrincham who are up there, when they start getting, a main man injured, that's when Notts Counties come for them and your Wrexham's come for them. And I'm sure they will push up the leagues and possibly even, make playoffs, which I do believe they will, both of them, and Stockport for as well. But I think so far it's been a perfect start. And when you've got a manager like Pete Wild, it makes the team brilliant and it makes the team tick. And we're playing in triangles, like you said, Luke, which is brilliant. And, Weymouth's a prime example. We've gone and beaten Notts County, and the players didn't get too carried away. Obviously, I didn't think Weymouth were a poor side, to be honest. I didn't think they were as bad as people may have expected because they're so low down the league. You could tell why they've picked some good points up towards the start of the season. But yeah, they're number 8, and they had a couple of decent players in that team. For Weymouth, and I think it was just good that we finished them off in the end. So yeah, I'm very pleased with the performance and players like Senior. It's great to see him playing, and we've still got Summerfield to come back. Do you reckon Summerfield's going to get straight back in the team? Anyone?
No.
You're not?
No.
I wouldn't put him.
Why would it?
Not straight back in, no.
But then with Summerfield and Woods being older players, already getting those injuries, little niggles and stuff, given the likes of Spencer Chance in midfield to play, Harvey Gilmore's probably had more play time than what he would have done. Yeah. Every player that stepped up performed. I mean, last season, Jack Senior was not. Yeah. He was sort of in and out of the team and a bit of a sort of a filler inner. Whereas this season, man of the match, etc., what we've already covered. we're just a very good team at the minute. There's no two words about it. We've got to enjoy it while we can, because I think you've said. I think once injuries and maybe a couple of suspensions start kicking in around, sort of like winter time, and pitches are getting a bit heavier, that is when your Notts Counties and your Wrexham being able to field 2 teams will come into effect. The fact that they don't have to start Hyde every week just shows you the level that Wrexham are at the moment. Just narrowing in on them in particular. I mean, Grimsby came down and under sort of a bit of a cloud, and they wanted their owners out, and there seemed to be a bit of a crisis. They're top of our league. Southend are in absolute free fall. Sacked Phil Brown, or he's left. So it's a bit like the Premier League. There's only 6-7 places for Europe, and every team's getting richer and richer. But there's only 6 European places in the Premier League. There's only 2 promotion places, obviously, in his own league, and there's 7 or 8 that are very, very well supported and funded at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. It just come down to squad depth. I think, and those teams you mentioned there, they can spend again in January if they need to be. We don't necessarily have those options. But just to call out on Saturday, that was probably the strongest bench we've ever been able to field in the National League. To be able to bring players like Jamie Allen and players off the bench that can actually change things or spread the play. And I know there's times last year where four on the bench and calling up youth players, which I'm sure we're going to talk about the youth squad, which looks bright for the future, but it's not what you can build a successful playoff campaign on. But yeah, the bench on Saturday looked fresh and ready and gave Pete different options and probably made the difference to get that second goal and clean sheet on Saturday.
Yeah, Positive Shaymen's just tuned in. Positive Shaymen in the comments already, which is great to see. But yeah, it's great to see this, and it's good because when I saw Luke Summerfield in the side at the start of the season, and even towards at the start of last season, it was a bit like when Huddersfield had Aaron Moy. I feel like we rely on him a little bit, so everything has to come through him for us to score. And when he goes out,
he's got no hair, Luke. Is that what you're saying?
Pardon? Oh no, it's definitely not that. But he's that sort of player. When he's in a team, he's the main man. He's the team that you build around, which I see. And when he got injured last season, we struggled. Obviously, we lost to Barnet at the game after. We lost to Maidenhead. We did struggle without Luke Summerfield. And this season, I thought when we lost to Maidenhead, I just think it's a bit of a different side to when we played Maidenhead, because I remember someone on the forum, it was nothing negative. He said, after watching all 3 games, going to Woking, seeing us against Altrincham, seeing us lose to Maidenhead, I don't think the side's got the strength, the quality to win the league this season. And I, to be honest, I sort of agreed with him at that point. And he was a bit like, he said, we'll give it a very good try, which I agreed with as well, which were, good to see. But the side since then, it to me, obviously, I'm getting a bit carried away with myself here, like I was in the previous podcast, but it's a side that I don't know what to expect, to be honest, because we're playing that well at the minute. Anything could happen this season, and that's what I like to see. It's great that we've got players like that, and we've still got players out injured, like Luke Summerfield, and when he comes back, he's going to make the side, he's going to come back, and he's another option. Another thing as well is, I remember Wild at the start of the season saying he doesn't want to spend all his budget at the start of the season. And he hasn't, and he's still got a budget. So when them injuries start to kick in, we've got money to bring in players, quality players, not players that were looking who are on free agents who are not who have just been released by quite poor clubs. The term desperate signings maybe would be the right term. Where this season with the budget we've still got, we could be bringing in some quality players that we can try find, like Newby. Newby, for example, is coming, and I think he's one hell of a player, and I think it'd be brilliant if we could sign him permanently. Anyone got anything to add on that?
Tyrell Warren. I think we need to speak about Tyrell Warren, because I don't know if it's just me, but he's come into the side and he sort of signed a bit like Jesse Delbert, come in as like short-term contract, etc.
Yeah.
Just again a bit like Senior on the opposite wing. He's a very, very good player. There's no weak links in our team at the minute, but I just thought it was important to highlight him because he's doing a pretty good job out there since getting his contract extension or signing a longer contract, whatever way you want to dress it up.
Definitely. It seems like Pete's getting enough of these right to realise that it's not just luck. Every season we bring in a number of trialists in pre-season and then give them short-term contracts, and they just fade away, never hear from them again. So yeah, is it whether by luck and chance or whether by really astute research and scouting that he's picked these lads who've been deemed not worthy enough in academies and. Big news this year on Saturday with Marcus Rashford, obviously friends with Deborah from the Man United youth team turning up, he's hit gold every single time so far with the lads that he's brought in summer. Not done amongst them so far.
It's been perfect, and when you're attracting people like Marcus Rashford, who wouldn't even get into the side, I think you were trying to nudge Pete Wild to maybe give him a contract, but no, it's been brilliant so far. And I think, like you mentioned in Warren, I think we've got to mention Deborah as well. I think obviously he's been out injured, but it's not just that goal that he scored. He's been perfect, I think, when I'm watching him in detail. I'll go through all three of you before we go on to a bit about the Ilkley game. If there were one player last season you could keep, who would it be? And I'll allow you to say if you don't think you'd want anyone. I'll allow you to say no one. I'll start with you, Rob. Who would you keep?
I'll start with nobody, to be honest, because everybody that left wanted to go for their own reasons, and they all chose not to be with us. And I think what's great is they've created space for us to get some new players in. The new players we've got are far more exciting, further up the league.
Yeah.
Great, yeah. Don't miss any of them.
Mm-hmm. I think, I'll change it a little bit now. If they wanted to stay at the club, Shaymen Stats, who would you want?
I'd have kept Neil Byrne.
Yeah, I think
I think he's quality, but then again, it's going to be, my argument's going to just have both sides. Tom Bradbury stepped up and Jesse Debra's stepped up. I mean, Bradbury, again, it's another name that we're singling out again. Class. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see why he got sent off against Notts County. There might have been a retaliation. I saw him get tackled from behind after the ball had gone. But I didn't see any of until there was a big fracas, I was just like, we should just get a free kick. Late challenge should be a yellow card. But I don't think it's any coincidence that we faded away last season. Towards the end of the season, when Bradbury picked up his injury, he really is Mr. Consistent. That's possibly why Wild, I mean, it's pure speculation. It might have been why it were easier to allow Neil Byrne to leave, because he knew that he had Bradbury, who was consistent for him. I mean, Niall Mars, Mr. Ever-Present since Bolton signed him way back when, 3 managers have trusted or have had faith or seen the ability of Mar. I mean, he's our captain now.
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant as well this season. I think a lot of players who've come to the side have got better and better as the season's gone on. But Luke, finally, who would you bring in?
For me, I think it would have been great to have kept Jack Earing for another season. You talked earlier about building a team around a player and just really being that engine to drive forward. And I think Jack had obviously a couple of loan spells before breaking through into the team. But then was it kind of the first half of last season, during COVID time? So obviously no one there to see it in person, but breaking from midfield, just absolutely gliding past defenders and scoring a lot of goals as well. So he was really turning into a bit of a complete midfielder. He's got his move. There's absolutely no, I don't think you can have any hard feelings about a kind of upwards move like that to the league. Of all the players that were in the team last year, I'd say he's probably got the brightest kind of long-term future of the ones that left.
We've got someone in the comments saying Niall Marr's been brilliant so far this season, which he has, to be honest. I think if there were one person that I would want to keep, if I'm totally honest, I think I'd have to agree with Shaymen Stats and go with Byrne. It's not that I don't think any centre-half so far has been good this season, and I do, but I think it just adds that bit of depth at the back, personally. And I saw some hell of a player in Byrne, to be honest. I was surprised. I could, it was sort of move, Hartlepool come in for you. You are going to go to Hartlepool. And I don't blame any of the players who left last season. To be honest, if they want to go, that's fine. And we've probably built a better squad, a better connected squad than last season, personally, so far. So, yeah, there was one player I'd want to keep. It would probably Byrne. I do think he was a quality player, but, he's doing well at Hartlepool now. So, that's a bit... I think that more or less wraps it up about Weymouth so far. So, as we move on to the Ilkley game, did any of you attend the Ilkley game last night? I sadly couldn't. Well, I didn't really want to attend.
I went. Mm-hmm. It was a really nice, comfortable first half, 3-0 up. Not too much opposition, to be honest. And a plastic pitch, of course. The chips were fantastic. £2.50 for a...
Oh, come on. I'd come now if I knew that.
Honestly, it's a bucket full of chips, £2.50, double cooked, red hot, really good. Salt and vinegar, proper salt and vinegar as well.
Yeah.
Top quality, really good. And half time with 3-0 up. Second half, to be fair, Oakley really gave it a good go. The post twice, and they got a consolation about 3 or 4 minutes to go. Yeah. But they pushed us really hard, and I think there were 3 or 4 first team type players there that were holding it together, quite well. And it was okay. It was a nice competitive game, but quite a fast game as well. Their pitch was quite fast, and I'm not sure we're getting the next round, but might be a big club like Guiseley. or maybe Bradford Park Avenue, or it could be anybody.
To be honest, I don't really have much interest in that competition, but it's good for the youth players in a way. Obviously, was there anyone that stood out to you last night? Obviously, SEN scored. It's not. I don't think I've checked, and it's not Michael SEN's son or grandson, sadly. But he might attend one of the games. So was there anyone that stood out for you from the youth?
Yeah, he scored a decent goal. But to be honest, we were at the other end of the pitch. There's quite a few people there, and they're all crowded around one end. So we went to the other end. And every goal was scored at the far end to us. But, it's one of those things. It's a bit of a gamble. We thought 3-0 at half time. There'll probably be 6 by full time, but no, it all stayed down at the end. But it was good. I mean, Bradbury was really well organised at the back, and you could hear him constantly talking to people, and corners especially. You could hear him telling people to pick people up, and and that competition is great for the sort of youth team players intermingling and. Bit of atmosphere there. It's good, and the all play were going for it. They're properly well organised. And
they got that goal in the second half. It's good. I think what I'm sort of noticing now is the youth team's doing well. I remember a couple of seasons ago, our under-19s were doing really well against sides like. I'm sure they played Manchester United's under-19s, and I'm sure they beat them. I heard at one point, but it's brilliant that we've got youth team players coming up. I follow them all on Instagram. And at the FCHT Academy social media pages, you know that we've got players in the future, and it's good that we're bringing in players like Jay Ben, who's yet to come back. You've got Kane Spencer, I think he was at Middlesbrough. You've got young players who've gone through the youth systems who are doing well for us, and that's what I really like to see. I think that more or less wraps it up for Ilkley. I'm not sure we'll get in the second round. You've made me a bit upset about them chips, to be honest, Rob, because that's my favourite thing to have at a football game. I was very disappointed, to be fair, when they weren't selling chips on Saturday either for the Weymouth game. Hopefully they can get the burger van back, because it is my favourite. It's my favourite thing to have on a match day. But enough about that. So we move a bit on to the Pontefract game. And so far we've sold over 500 tickets, which is our first allocation. The club have given us a second allocation, which is good. And I'm very looking forward to it. I know a lot of fans are going on the train. I'm going on the train as well. And it's a game, obviously it's a game that we should win, but it's an important game, to be honest. And I just hope the Halifax fans can create an atmosphere, which I'm sure we will do. And it's going a bit, obviously you guys will know a bit more about this now. It's going a bit back to the older days, isn't it, when we were playing them sort of sides.
Pontefract
collies. Very much so. It's a real tough game, because it's one of those you should win, but they'll be well up for it. And they've done really well to get to where they are in that competition. I think it's their first time at this particular round. And they're not a rubbish team. And I mean, Shaymen Stats will tell you they played Brighouse a couple of years ago in the playoffs, didn't they? And they're a decent team. So,
I mean, I've seen Pontefract this season at St Giles Road. It's a game where I think Jerry McDonough has to start. They're very, very big at the back. The problem is it's difficult to judge other teams' heights and statures and physicality, because Brighouse have a fairly small team in terms of height. We've got 2 big centre backs, and I think it'll be very much like, I reckon that's why McDonough possibly played all of the 90 minutes last night, just to see how he'd fare. I think McDonough will have to heavily feature. It's a banana skin because it's at Pontefract. Had it been down the Shea, I mean, I couldn't see anything but a town win. I think we'd have used the width.
It is at Pontefract, because it sort of creates something for us as well. It's obviously a lot of fans have been there, but for a lot of people like me, it's a new ground. I've never been to Pontefract away. And I think we'll create an atmosphere as well. I have like a load of equipment that I took in for like when England were in the Euros, and I took them into school. I've got a big horn that I take, and I'll be taking that for the laugh. And I've got a big wig as well that I'll be taking to try
create. Which stand are you going in, Luke?
Pardon?
Which stand are you going in?
I'm going with the away fans.
Okay, might go somewhere else.
They'll all be in one stand. They'll just be all around 4 sides, I'd imagine. I think Rob wanted to know, so he wouldn't be stood next to you with your arm.
Yeah. Big on.
Yeah, you know where I am anyway. Yeah, it's a game. It is a game I'm looking forward to, and yeah, it'd be good because obviously the following Saturday as well, off to Solihull away. And if I'm totally honest, when I'm going to watch Halifax play, the away games are always the best games. I think at every club, the away games are always the best, sort of game to go to. It's a new ground, and it's great to create an atmosphere in it as well when you go away with Halifax. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I've enjoyed many away day, but I couldn't put them above playing at home. I just love the Shay. The Shay when it's loud, but when it's quiet, it's quiet. Yeah. But yeah, I do like an away day, but I'd still you can't. The Shay's in my heart,
to be honest, it's nothing to do with like the Shay or anything like that, because it is such a good stadium in it for the division that we're playing in. And yeah, I think the club are brilliant about giving us a decent burger van, which we previously had, and I'm hoping that we'll be back for the following game. Pardon?
You're obsessed with food.
I am. It's just and then you're having programs. They give you a very good day, and I think for away fans they like it as well. Where we put them, and obviously we provide for them with everything that they need and everything, which is brilliant. But to be honest, I think it's just me. I do prefer an away day when I'm going somewhere like Notts County away or Solihull away. I remember a Chesterfield game a couple of seasons ago, and that was some game that when we won 3-2. And yeah, that'll be a game that will be in my memory for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been brilliant last couple of weeks. We've got some big games coming up: Solihull, Bromley, Dagenham. We've got Wrexham's not too far away now at home. I can't wait for that one. But yeah, that's more or less it. That more or less wraps it up. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in tonight. All 7 of you, 7 to 10 people have tuned in, which is brilliant. A lot of you will be watching afterwards. Thank you to you guys who've joined me tonight. It's been a good show. And yeah, I hope to see you again on episode 3 of Talking Shaymen Podcast. Right, see you everyone.
Cheers, guys. See you later. Cheers.